my role on the team is to support and make people laugh. So, like, it's a lot of the job on this team is you have to put your like ego and everything aside and just be stupid. And so, if I have Leaf and Trent laughing, then I know it's a good day. So that's my goal.
Wait, are they the hardest to make laugh?
No, they're the easiest. The hardest is Jake or Valen and Alex or Jogamo, but Trent and Leaf are very easy. That's why I target them. Yeah.
Hey everyone, Station 2 in here. I'm here with JonahP after their series against Left today. So, I mean, just quick thoughts on the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, strong map 1, map 2 was also really close, but then Left pulled that one out, and then you eventually came back in map 3. So, how do you view this series overall? Were you expecting Lev to be able to have such a strong showing today?
Yeah, I would say so. We expect every team to have a pretty strong showing against us because, you know, we're the team to beat right now. So we know going to every game that, you know, there's a target on us. So they have to do their homework. So, yeah, map 1, you know, I think we're like 9 or 10-0 on Lotus. So continue that streak. We noticed they were playing pretty similar to us in their setup. So we recognized that pretty fast and were able to adjust. And then for Fracture is one of our, like, I don't know, it's kind of like just like a coin flip map, just like for any team, honestly. It's very, like, I don't know, it's very random, I would say. And yeah, I think they just had, we just kind of forced things too much and just, you know, play it into their game and not ours. And for the third map, kind of started to let it slip a bit. We had 10-2 half, and I'm not really sure. It's hard to remember what went wrong. I think a couple of our post plants, like we had a lot of our post plants where our Astros planning. We never really did that in practice before, so yeah, we were just like we weren't sticking to our fundamentals, and we're again kind of just like playing reactive instead of more like assertive, and so. Once like we paused and recognized that, then we started to take the game over again.
When you say reactive versus assertive, can you talk about that a bit more? Because you're kind of talking about how map 2, you guys are starting to play outside of your fundamentals a bit more, which kind of sounds like you're kind of being more proactive than reactive. Can you just explain, are there ever times where it's good to just play a fully reactive style, or you always want to remain within this assertive fashion where you're playing your own style?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much like what happens during rounds. Every like piece of util matters, keeping track of everything. And you know, reactive, you're kind of just like you're letting the opponents make the first move, and then you know you respond to it. And then you know, proactive is like you're the one who makes the first move. And you know, typically whoever you know makes the first move and you know can catch the people off guard, then that team is more favored. And a lot of that was happening today where we were kind of just letting them play, and then we would like counter back or respond back, and it would just get shut down. So yeah, once we recognize, you know, we got to step it up in that aspect, we were able to come back and close out the game.
Is that why the team doesn't really lose its complacency? Because if you kind of develop a complacency or view opponents less, you go into it unsure if you're going to be able to like start the game off with the tempo that you need?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, it's basically just a tempo question. Where is that the reason why this team always focuses on treating every single opponent kind of the same going into it? Because you don't want a situation where the match's tempo just goes, let's say, like a 7-0 start, you know, like with the Furia versus G2 thing.
I mean, that I think like when we start slow, it's mainly because our comms could be good, but comms could be good, but like the decision making can be bad, and that's like, you know, when we start slow, that's what it lacks. Like we're calming everything, but there's no action, there's no like assertiveness, and it's basically like when we're playing bad, it's probably that. And I mean today, like I had a pretty rough series individually, but you know, I never really think about that while I'm playing. I just think what I can do more, you know, for my comms and stepping up in other aspects, like making sure my util's on point, calming for other people, and empower my teammates so they can get the frags that I'm lacking, and just stuff like that.
I think G2 is in a really interesting spot because, for example, you could have bad games like this, but then you also have really good ones. And then no matter what, seems like there's always someone just popping off on G2. Yeah. When you have a team that's kind of in this position where instead of trying to move ahead of other teams, you're maintaining your spot at that top spot. Yeah. What's that like? And then on a week-to-week basis, do you go in looking back at VODs and just trying to look at 3 different things that you can improve on? Or like, for example, after this week, what are kind of the 3 goals that you would have so that you don't have a bad game like this next week?
After every game, win or lose, our coaching staff will always, watch the VODs and write up notes with like timestamps. That's like win or lose every game. And so we'll get that, probably tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, it's like we've seen a lot of teams in the past before us who made it to the top and then slowly not crumble, but fall off. There's never been like a consistent team. There's never been like a VALORANT dynasty team. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to create this year and moving forward. And so on a week to week, it's a lot of work, a lot of VOD reviewing, scrims, and just playing the game. And and especially when you're at the top, we always we need to make stuff. We can't. It's not like we can watch other teams and take ideas from them because that's what people are doing to us right now. So that's true. Yeah, and we're paving the path, our own path right now. So we just got to stay on it.
Yeah, you're creating your own dynasty at this point. Yeah. So then, I'm actually curious about the bullet points aspect with that. When you usually get that list next day from Anders and Josh, how many bullet points do they usually have? Can it range from just 5 bullet points to 30? How does that even work?
The range is from what they think are mistakes, and whatever they think are mistakes, it's most likely a mistake. So it just depends on how you played. For me, I had a rough game, so I'll probably have more notes from my coaches, which is good. It helps me improve. And that's something that we're all good on this team. We're able to put our ego aside and take accountability for making poor decisions. So Trent had an insane day today, so he'll probably get a few notes and I'll get the rest, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Have you guys ever counted how many bullet points that you have and then just ranked it?
No, not really, but it's a lot sometimes. And it's our job to take it serious and actually read it. You can't just have my coaches show me what I'm doing wrong and what to improve, and I just react with a thumbs up. We take the time and actually read it, and then the following practice, so the day after tomorrow, we don't necessarily go through our individual notes. We'll go through team notes and watch the VOD and just basically repeat all that.
That's really interesting. I haven't really talked to other teams that do that per se. Maybe they do, but was that something that started back even with the guard? Was that something that Josh brought into the team? How did this kind of system for improvement kind of start?
Started with when we expanded our coaching staff. Even when we only had Josh on the guard, he wouldn't really do individual. I mean, he probably did. It's been a long time, but he had a lot on his plate. Single coaching staff, and but it was always VOD reviewing back then too. And now he has people to help him. Then that's why we're able to have more information come our way.
Oh, so is that kind of more like an Anders thing that he brought in?
No, it's been Shaq, our assistant coach. He's the one looking back and taking care of the players as individual, and Josh is the main one who does the macro team mistakes, but they're all working together. So. And
then what does Saya Wolf do?
He just handles everything behind the scenes. Sometimes he's awake, sometimes he's not. Sorry, Saya. But he's a great manager. our lives. He basically makes sure our lives aren't stressful outside the game with, you know, whatever we have to, any forms, passports, just travel stuff. You know, we're traveling a lot, so he takes care of everything, and yeah, he does a lot for us.
That's awesome. How many bullet points does he have?
He honestly, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to talk to the rest of the team. Yeah, that's good.
All right, so I've just got a couple more questions. Yeah. So I've watched vlogs a bit, just kind of more on a fun aspect. Everything. Yeah. You come across so mellow, so chill, but then randomly, occasionally, you'll just have a noise that I don't even know how you do that. When did you know that you could be able to make noises like that?
I don't know. You just do it. My role on the team is to support and make people laugh. So, like, it's a lot of the job on this team is you have to put your like ego and everything aside and just be stupid. And so, if I have Leaf and Trent laughing, then I know it's a good day. So that's my goal.
Wait, are they the hardest to make laugh?
No, they're the easiest. The hardest is Jake or Valen and Alex or Giacomo, but Trent and Leaf are very easy. That's why I target them. Yeah.
Any closing remarks, Jonah?
Closing remarks. I mean, appreciate the support. We got one more match left against C9. They're looking pretty good, but I think since today we played. I mean, we came out to win, but I say we played pretty bad. I played pretty bad, and so with the time we have to, you know, fix our mistakes, I don't think C9 will have a chance tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next week. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're not underestimating anybody. We never have. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, that's what the bullet points are for. Exactly. Awesome, Jonah. Appreciate your time. Yeah.